One of the distinctions of late 20th and 21st century design is the development of national styles and the integration of graphic design with fine art, performing art, interior architecture, interior design, architecture itself. This blending across the disciplines was indicated by references to graphic environments, user experience, and the like. A later trend, more recent, is the idea of the designer as writer and the growth of the field of design criticism. Countries and regions during this era developed a unique sensibility because of the strong approaches of particular designers and studios in those regions. Due to developments in graphic arts technology and the expansion of graphic design education itself, their influence spread to other parts of the world, resulting in an international culture. Back in the 1980s and 1990s, the advance of electronics and computer technology created a cultural climate which impacted the processes and the appearance of graphic design both. An influential design partnership, Pentagram Design, began in London in '62 under another name, and when it got to 5 partners, the name was changed to Pentagram. The essence of the Pentagram approach to graphic design can be summarized by its thorough evaluation and understanding of communications problems and the context in which solutions would appear, and also a touch of British humor and experimentation. Also in London, emerging design studios offer different approaches to visual problem solving and find inspiration in eclectic fine art, ephemeral pop culture, and traditional graphic design. So here we have the Wolf Olin's 2012 Olympic symbol, and it bears no resemblance to prior Olympic Games symbols, and it is very much London-based. It's very much about where the games are set in summer of 2012, rather than being more about the competition itself. After World War II, Japan rose to become a leader in technology and manufacturing, and simultaneously emerged as a major center for graphic creativity. Graphic designers in Japan sought to maintain national traditions while at the same time incorporating international influences. For example, the systematic organization and theoretical foundation of European constructivism, a major resource for the Japanese design movement, was curbed by the Japanese inclination toward intuitive problem-solving, centered compositions, and the simple forms of the mon, which are the traditional family crest. And we see here the influence of the mon. We see also the formality of constructivism. In the Netherlands, during the post-war years, there was a time of rebuilding and restoring of the pre-war culture and the pre-war social life. It was a prevailing atmosphere of individuality and freedom of expression, and these created a climate of innovation. So as Dutch design evolved, 2 primary directions emerged. The first leaned toward modern design, which was a pragmatic constructivism that was built on the Dutch traditions of the earlier part of the 20th century, including the influence of the De Stijl movement, Piet Zwart, Paul Schultema, as well as influences from Switzerland. The second leaned toward expressionism, especially through color use and spatial arrangements. So there was a corporate formality that was counterbalanced by a youthful independence and expressiveness. Dutch cultural institutions and government agencies were patrons of graphic design, and each government agency had its own visual identity program distinct from all the others. Design in Spain and Portugal were parallel, closely related, but not exactly the same. From the 30s through the 70s, both countries were cut off from the rest of Europe because of repressive governments, political turmoil, and also financial issues. European modernism and Russian constructivism had little influence during that era. Design for both countries shared similar aesthetic qualities. It was tranquil, charming, it was colorful. It suggested Iberian culture, including the opulently textured architecture of Gaudi. the local arts and crafts, and modernist art. In Mexico, influences included the pre-Columbian heritage, but also European culture. In South America, in Brazil, design reflects an exuberance and with a strong postmodern bent in terms of its structure, in terms of spatial definitions and movement. So we see a heavy influence in these two posters of postmodernism. Since 1980, China has embraced international commerce and the resulting merging of intellectual, economic, social, and political ideologies. These have served to modernize the country. In turn, there's been a dramatic change in Chinese design education, which has begun to emphasize modern Western design movements over the 5,000-year-old calligraphic traditions. And currently, accelerating economic and social development in China is producing a wealth of creativity and is offering designers opportunity to advance in cross-cultural dialogue and to further the country's stated goal of becoming a creative world leader in design. Designers in the Middle East are embracing modern Western design while preserving their own heritages. In Israel, design is heavily modern in approach, very formal. It has minimalistic tendencies, and it's infused with local culture. Israel is strongly industrial rather than corporate, and its design solutions reflect heavily toward advertising and marketing rather than corporate identity. Much of the design is immediately understood by the locals, but not by foreigners because of the tendency to keep things close to the culture. There is a strong American influence due to its affinity with the United States. Major trends in Iran, where there is a growing design movement, have been inspired by the Swiss School of International Typographic Style and also the Polish poster movement, the conceptual poster. Iranian design combines traditional understanding of calligraphy and illustration with new approaches in working with type and image. Digital technology and the introduction of advanced software has expanded creative potential of graphic designers worldwide by making possible manipulation of color, form, space, and imagery that had never been seen before. This is happening both in print and on screen. At the same time, the technology eliminated many traditional graphic arts jobs and services. Typesetters don't exist anymore. You can't find a stat house anywhere. Process cameras are archaic, and the onus of design production and pre-press is now divided between designers and commercial printers. The production artist has gone by the wayside for the most part. The internet and the World Wide Web transformed communication and led to a period of pluralism and diversity. Professional designers are joined by others whose design activities are extension of their vocational or avocational activities, and so the design profession itself has widened and been ignited not only by the creation of new computer software and the internet, but also the expansion and increase in quality and substance of design education. At the same time, graphic designers on a personal level are expanding into self-directed projects and fine arts related exploration. So there's a dynamic flux going on. Along with digital technology, time-honored theory and production methods, collage, hand manipulation, hand illustration, letterpress are continuing to run a course parallel to the advancement of the technological realm. The development of font design software for desktop computers enabled designers to design and market original typefaces, so we've had an explosion of new releases since the 1990s. Aside from the larger type foundries such as ITC, the smaller independent type foundries also have emerged, including Emigre, Heffler and Frere Jones, and individual type designers such as Michael Durrett are enjoying a lot of notoriety. Advances in digital type design have allowed for the mechanization, standardization, and stylization of traditionally handwritten letter forms and calligraphy. So we have handwriting fonts, we have calligraphic fonts. In recent years, there has been a great interest in the design of font families that not only include characters from the Roman alphabet, but also from the Cyrillic, Greek, and Arabic alphabets as well. Another phenomenon related to this is the multiple master typeface, where two or more master typeface designs combine to generate an extensive sequence of fonts. With digital imaging software, image manipulation can be achieved in a seamless manner, and because of that, photography can no longer be considered the undisputed documentation of reality. In other words, photographs are no longer believable as evidence of fact. Boundaries are fading between photography, illustration, and fine art, and also the boundaries between designer, illustrator, and photographer are fading. Very often you'll see a individual design practitioner who is a designer slash illustrator or a photographer slash designer, some combination of those disciplines at work. On the internet, hypertext and interactive media have expanded creative opportunities. There has been an incredible explosion in innovation in these realms. A very recent direction is design for mobile devices, and this is linked to the development of portable technology and the devices themselves, such as the iPad, tablets, iPhone, Android, and others. The interactivity of the internet has been coupled with location-based real-time information, and there is now a demand for intuitive user interfaces. Apple, of course, has been a pioneer in designing portable devices, and these allow users to interact directly with information they are receiving and then manipulate it according to their own desire. So to meet these demands, graphic designers have become part of a team of information architects that develop sleek, intuitive user experiences. So design is not just about communication any longer, it's about the experience of the user. In spite of the technological revolution, there is a return to centuries-old techniques and processes which are enjoying a renaissance, particularly artisans concerned with preserving the art of letterpress printing. Hand-drawn type is also enjoying a recent renaissance. So the processes and possibilities of design have always been influenced by technology in one way or another. Similar to fine art, design has always reflected culture, but in a greater way than fine art ever has, design has influenced culture. Graphic design is increasingly vital to communication, to influence, and to persuasion, and also to experience. Design speaks to quality of life in our day. The basic principles remain intact: the aesthetic understanding, the formal elements, the organizing principles, and these still form the foundation in spite of all the change. Change is taking place at an increasing acceleration, and the ability of designers to adapt and to forge ahead requires them to understand the times, the history, and the possibilities.